وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Now we are discussing a new chapter in the Masail which are related with fasting, and that is the chapter of Kafara. As I mentioned last night, Kafara is different from Fidya. Fidya is what we pay in return or in lieu of or instead of, which I explained the circumstances last time. Now, Kafara is a penalty which is paid if, God forbid, somebody does not fast in the month of Ramadan purposely, without any excuse whatsoever. If a person does not fast without any reason, then he has got to give qada plus kafara, which is a penalty. Leaving out or missing out a fast without any reason is gunah kabira. It is not a joke. It is just like leaving prayers or not going to Hajj after being able to go. It is one of the furu' and one of the arkan, that is the pillars of our faith. So fasting is not an ordinary ibadah that one can decide that I will not fast today without any reason. Now, for every fast that is left out without any reason, there are three types of kafara. One kafara is that in lieu of every fast of Ramadan that has been left out, there are 60 fasts. The second alternative is to free a person who is enslaved. That means to free a slave. The third is to feed 60 poor. So one of these three kafara must be paid in lieu of every fast that has been left out. One, either it should be that for every fast one pays back 60 fasts, or frees a slave, or feeds 60 masakin or poor. Ayatollah al-Khoy says that if anyone breaks the fast with haram, that means breaking a fast itself or leaving out a fast is haram, and then does it by an act which is haram, like speaking lies against the Prophet, as I said earlier, or Aimma, which is haram, whether it is in fast or without fast. It is a forbidden act, and if one breaks his fast deliberately with this, then he has to pay all the three kafaras. One is fasting and then breaks the fast, God forbid, na'udhu billah, with wine. So it is a double kafara. That means he has got to pay all the three kafaras together. Now, the question of freeing the slaves, it was so estimated that it does not apply in these days. But it has come to transpire that there are still slaves in this world, and the slave trade is still going on under various guises. So that applies even today. If one can do it, one has to do it. Now, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam deliberately has kept this in Sharia to encourage the freeing and emancipation of slaves as much as possible. فَكُّ رَقَبَةٍ أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ ذِي مَسْغَبَةٍ. To free the slave or to feed one who is hungry. He himself, for example, set examples one after the other by freeing the slaves. Zayd, who is the son of the Prophet, as they usually called him, the son of the Prophet, Zayd was brought as a slave to Mecca, as a slave. A young boy, he came as a very young boy. Somebody sold him to Janab Khadija. And when the Prophet saw that young boy enter the household as a slave, he told her, now you have bought him, you give it away to me. Janab Khadija said, I have no objection. So he becomes yours. The moment Prophet took him, he freed him. He freed him and he made him a free person. Now he had nowhere to go. He was actually abducted from his parents. His father was looking for the child. And he once came to Mecca looking for his son. And at that time, Zayd was already 10 to 11 years old. Somebody told him that your son is there, he is with the Prophet. He came there and he met the Prophet and said, will you please sell him back to me because he is my son. The Prophet said, there is no question of sale, he is a free person. The day he was associated with me, he is a free man. If he decides to go with you, he is your son, you can take him. I mean, we did not have any objection to that. You talk to him and he can go. And Zayd told his father that if you do not mind, I would like to remain in the company of a man who perhaps is the noblest on earth. And he has not treated me as his slave. He freed me the same day. Now it makes no difference. I'll be happier if I'm here. But if you command, I'll come. When he heard this, he left Zayd with the Prophet. So one after the other, incidents have occurred of freeing the slave. This is why it has been kept in kafara, to encourage emancipation of slaves, not to buy, but to free. That is one thing. But there can be a case where a person commits these things which break the fast without knowing that they break. Now remember, my friends, that there are two types of jahil. Many people come to us and say, Bhai, we did not know the mas'ala. They come and say, we did not know the mas'ala. Now, not knowing the mas'ala means jahalat or ignorance. But Shariat has defined that there are two types of jahils. One is called qasir and one is called muqassir. Qasir jahil is one who does not have anywhere to go and find guidance. So he's a qasir. No, qasir is one who has many people who can guide him. The book is there. The mullahs are here. Ulama are there. A telephone can be picked and ask a question, but one does not care. That jahil is different from muqassir. Muqassir is one who can be excused because there is no one to explain. We must now decide, are we, when we say we did not know the mas'ala, are we qasir or are we muqassir? There are so many people to guide, we don't want to ask. There are books printed in all languages, we don't want to refer. And then we say we did not know the mas'ala. So qasir and muqassir are two different. We are not muqassir. We cannot be excused. We are qasir. We just don't care. And therefore, in every mas'ala, we cannot just say that we did not know. Right? Having understood this, Ayatullah Khuy says that if somebody did not really know the mas'ala and committed these things, of course, then there is only qadha. When he comes to know of the mas'ala, there is no kafar. But if he knew, then of course there is a kafar. And if he only knew this much, that this particular act is haram, he did not know that it breaks the fast, even then there is a kafar. The question arises that we cannot pay, who 60 roza, ek hi nahi hua to 60 kaise honge? Hmm? When I could not fast one, how am I going to fast 60? That is the question. And some mu'mineen, may Allah forgive us all, we are all sinners, but they do come and say, Mullah Sahab, in our earlier days, we have left out many, not knowing that it was so serious. We have left out. Some of them say we don't remember how many. Well, we just did not fast. Examination, no fasting. Parents tell children not to fast because there is exam, which is not true, not correct. Or hard days, or summer days, or whatever, many excuses. We did not fast. Concentration. We did not fast. Now, to give those 60 for each, heart failure. Now, if you tell them that, all right, there is an alternative of freeing a slave, in London there is no slave. The only remaining thing is that now we will have to feed 60 masakin. Now, in feeding 60 masakin, it is 3 1/4, that means quarter less than full kilo of food. In kafara, it can be wheat, it can be dates, it can be rice, anything. And we have to feed 60 masakin. So you can pay for that, and we will make the arrangement for them to be fed. And they will be fed to their content, or they can take home the food. And if there is a poor man who has got wife and children, they all will be counted 1, 1, 1, 1. So if there is a family of 5, 5 are in a family. So we choose 12 families like that, for example, 60 families to feed them in lieu of each fast. Now that many can afford, many cannot afford. Ayatullah Hui says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if one genuinely cannot give kafar, cannot, not a single one out of these 3, then he must try to recompense as much as he can. I mean, as much as he can. That means it is not totally wiped off. One must try as much as he can. And after that, فَلْيَسْتَغْفِرِ اللَّهِ, and then he must seek forgiveness from Allah, that, Ya Allah, I did what I did. I did not know at that time. I was ignorant, whatever. I have tried to recompense as much as I can. I cannot do more than this. Ya Allah, forgive me. Now, forgive me means that I will now fast. Forgive me does not mean that I'll continue doing the same thing. It means that now I will not do what I did in the past, and I will continue. This recompense is to confirm that that sin will not be committed again. And in the future, whenever I am able to pay kafara, that wajib ahwat wujubi is that I should pay. But if I am not, inshallah ta'ala, Allah will forgive. Now these are the broad outline of kafara. There are some details which inshallah we will discuss tomorrow. In the meantime, the tafsir of Rabb, as I finished last night, enters a new phase altogether. As I said last night, that ownership can be of several types. There can be an ownership of a particular thing which remains even after my death, ownership evaporated. Or there can be something I own and tomorrow I may sell it off. And there can be certain things which exist because of me, therefore they are mine, like my body parts and limbs. But even there, my control is limited. The control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is absolute. And that is the meaning of Rabb. But there is one more aspect which I should finish tonight, and that is هُوَ الَّذِي يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ. That power is there. He commenced his creation and then he calls it back. This we can't do. That means he created me when I was not. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. Surah Dahr. Definitely there has come upon man a phase where he was not even a known thing. If I am 56 today, 60 years ago, I wasn't there. Correct? There was no question of being there. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. Then we created him from that mixed drop between man and woman. Nabtalihi, we sent him onto this world to test him. فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. We made him seeing and hearing. Hearing and seeing. I came to this earth as a child and grew up to be what I am today. The day will come when I will breathe my last, and that will be the death. On the day of resurrection, هو الذي يبدأ الخلق ثم يعيده, will bring me back. This no one can do but one who has got absolute power. That is the meaning of Rabb. Bring me back and say, come. And when the people asked, am I going to be the same I? It's a question. Am I going to be the same I? It's a philosophic question. Ali Sina said no. John Stuart Mill said no. The philosopher of Britain said that one never enters one river twice. That means you have entered the river with one step. The moment you put another step, the river has changed. So much of water has already flown. Right? But what they forget is that suppose a person committed a crime at the age of, say, 21. And he was apprehended at the age of 50. By that time, his face has changed. And according to the science today, my cells are dying every moment. True? Even blood does not remain in my body for more than 3 days. It is said every 3 days there is a generation of new blood. And the cells are dying and new cells are coming. And this skin, which used to be so taut and so smooth, has now become crumpled because of old age. Dying cells. I am not what I was at the age of 21. If I am caught by the police and said, you committed this, I can show him my photograph and say, look, I am not the same. See, it used to be all black. Now it is all grey. Don't you see the wrinkles? I am not the same man, I am changed. What will the police say? Will say, whether you have changed, whether the cells have died or whatever, the nafs is the same nafs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَسُبْحَانَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Malakut is the essence of proprietorship. Glory to him. In his hand is not only ownership, but the essence of ownership. That means your nafs also belongs to him. وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. And you shall be returned unto him. Because of this, that Rabb has the idea of returning. That is why, after repeating Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim for emphasis, Allah says, Maliki Yawmiddin. Remember that he is the owner of the day of reckoning. After having said this, because he wants to remind the fine, glory to him and praise to him, all praise to him. He is my Rabb. He is my master, my Lord, my provider, my sustainer. But he is capable of returning me back. That's why I say, Maliki Yawmiddin, the king, the owner the proprietor of the day of reckoning. This ayah can be read both ways. You can read Maliki Yawmiddin, which is Sahih. You can read Maliki Yawmiddin, it is not incorrect. And you can also read Maliki Yawmiddin as we read Maliki Yawmiddin or Maliki Yawmiddin is the day of, there are two meanings of deen. One is jaza, that is reward, and one is hisab, that is reckoning. He is the controller, the king, the absolute on the day of reckoning. That's all. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib sallallahu alayhi wa in a very brief translation and a very brief meaning of Qiyamah, has said something which really makes us think. He says, do you know that Allah says in Quran, Inna Allah sari'ul hisab? That Allah is a very quick reckoner. Very quick. Sari'. Because many people say, how long will it take when billions and billions will rise on one day? Yeah? And everybody will come with his khata and amal nama, and how many angels will have to be recruited, an employment office will have to be opened, and then the reports will go back, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will sit to scrutinize. What will happen? This is the question. How many years it will take? And that is what people don't understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Allah sari'ul hisab. On that day of judgment, which is His control, the accounting is very quick. Here Mawla says that it will not take even more than just a wink. A wink. And everyone will know what is his account. Because he says, Allahu Akbar, this only Imam can say. He says, to detain anyone for longer than required is injustice. To detain anyone longer than required is zulm. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَيْسَ بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. And Allah is not a zalim. He will not detain you for longer than needed. That means the moment I rise, it will be so. وَكُلُّ إِنسَانٍ أَلْزَمْنَاهُ طَائِرَهُ فِي عُنُقِهِ. Everyone will rise with a'mal within his neck. It is a metaphor which says that everyone will rise to give the accounts himself. There is no munshi there. As I have said quite often, Ghalib has said in his couplet, "Pakde jate hain farishton ke likhe par nahaq." On the day of judgment will be caught because the angels have written something. Admi koi hamara dame tahrir bhi tha. Was there any witness on our behalf when they write? That's the question human being can ask. But the answer was already given. Ghalib, of course, had one thought. And poets are poets. They can always bring all imagination. But Allah has already answered. Al-yawma nakhtimu ala afwahihim wa tukallimuna aydihim wa tashhadu arjuluhum bima kanu yaksibun. Today, that is the day of judgment, we shall seal their mouths. Nakhtim, seal. وَتُكَلِّمُنَا أَيْدِيهِمْ. Their hands shall talk to us. And their legs shall tell us بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ, of what they have done and earned on earth. And in another ayah, which I don't remember at the moment, because Quran has got to be recited the way it is, but I remember the meaning where Allah says these limbs will be then questioned by man himself. What made you talk against me? That means I will start quarreling with my hands and my feet and legs to say, what made you? I tried to always keep you clean. Apply perfume all over you. I cleaned you with soap. What happened that today you are talking against me? How dear you were to me when you pained. I took you to the doctor for your recovery. Today you are talking against me. Who made you talk? And the answer will be, Antaqani Allah. God made me talk. The one who made everything talk has made me talk. That will be the answer. Maliki Yawmiddin. Now, remember, my sisters and brothers, my friends, that deen, religion or faith, is always lopsided, incomplete, if we only believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His control on earth and forget life hereinafter. It becomes complete and balanced if we remember Qiyamah. And because we forget and are heedless of what is going to come next, we do whatever we like on this earth. And we forget that there is a day which will, on that day, we are all going to answer. We are all answerable. Now, although Mawla has said in Allah Sari'ul Hisab, Quran says, judgment will be there. But in order to give us what sort of the questioning will be, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completes His hujjat and authority in many ways. There is a tafsir of Quran which is one of the best tafasir of Quran written by Shia ulama. It is called Majma'ul Bayan, written by Tabrasi. This man, for him, ulama have written, like Agha Buzurg Tehrani and others, that this man, when he died, actually he had not died. It was a temporary stoppage of heart beating, which in Arabic is called sakta. That is why when in fiqh, when somebody dies suddenly, we are told to wait. We are told to wait. He might revive. But people hurried. They gave him ghusl kafan, mujtahid, allama, and they buried him. And when they closed the grave, his eyes opened under the tons of dust. When his eyes opened, he saw himself under the plank of wood, naturally. So he said, Ya Allah, what shall I do? He tried to hit here and there, but that's no possibility. So he said that, Ya Allah, I make a nazr, a vow, that if I am brought out from this grave alive by any chance, I shall write tafsir of Quran before I die. Now, in those earlier days, there used to be what we call Nabashul Qubur, those who used to dig graves, fresh graves, and steal the kafan. Nabashul Qubur. They used to wait. The business was this: see the fresh grave and dig it open, take the kafan, leave the body naked, and then sell that kafan for somebody else. This was the business. Nabashul Qabr, one of these robbers came there, he saw a fresh grave, and he started digging it fast open. And this man inside, Sheikh Tabasi himself, felt that somebody was knocking at the plank of wood. So he also started knocking back. And the moment he knocked back, this fellow fell behind unconscious, naturally. I am not surprised. People fall sometimes in the ghusl khana. Yes. You see, what happens is the mayyit can sometimes belch because there is gas inside, and suddenly you hear, oh, and you think that he is alive. He is not alive, he is dead. But that has come out because there was some gas in it. It has happened. And sometimes it happens very badly in a sense that it sounds like laughter. Like that. Yes, it has happened, and people have really fallen, but not died. But people have fallen, see. The same man of whom they were not afraid when he was alive, they are now afraid when he is gone. You see. Well, it happens. The fellow fell back unconscious, and this man somehow managed to come out. When he came home, the people started running away. And they told each other that the man has gone, but the ghost has come. It took him hours to tell them, I am Tabasi, and this has happened. And he wrote that tafsir, which is called Tafsir Majma'ul Bayan. I say this because هو الذي يبدأ الخلق ثم يعيده. Many a times, even Toynbee, who is a historian of England, has written one book which is called Death. Although his subject was history, he has written a book called Death. In this he writes, but there are many people who die and then they come back and their experiences are noted. What they say is, a voice comes and says, go back. A voice comes and says, go back, for your time is not yet up. Go. Why have you come here? The Prophet said, it is the malaika who stand there and they say, you have come earlier, my dear. Go back. Yu'idu. Send back. Even here he sends back. And on the day that he will say, come out of the graves, we shall all come back. This is one. And to give another idea is that Sheikh Mirza Hussain Noori writes, and may Allah forgive us all, that when Majlisi alayhi rahmah died, the greatest of ulama that we have, he had a student who's and also of course he was only not a student, he was an alim also, Sayyid Ni'matullah Jazairi. They respected each other very much. One day, Sayyid Ni'matullah Jazairi said, Agha, let us make a pact of brotherhood. We are both old now. Whoever dies first will come in the dream to tell what happened. And it so happened that Majlisi alayhi rahmah died first. And Sayyid Ni'matullah Jazairi has written this, that for 1 year I waited, but there was no news. At the end of a year, when I never expected, one night I slept, I saw Allama Majlisi alayhi rahmah in a very good mood, in a very good environment. And I said, Agha salamun alaykum. And he answered me. I said, Agha, tell me what happened. And why so late? Majlisi alayhi rahmah answered, said, Ni'matullah, I wish you knew what hisab is. When I was in the grave and everything, the accounts of Munkar Nakir was over, a voice came, Majlisi, what have you brought from your life? And how did you spend your youth? And how did you spend your old age? How did you spend your hours and nights? And I said, Ya Allah, I have written Biharul Anwar, 26 volumes. Huh? The voice came, yes, Majlisi. We know that you have written Biharul Anwar. But sometimes you felt that there will be acknowledgement and appreciation by the people. And therefore the niyat is between my pleasure and the pleasure of the people. Is there anything else you have brought? Well, he said, Ya Allah, I used to teach, and in my class 1,000 boys used to, mujtahideen, used to sit. 1,000. I said, yes, you did it. But at times to impress upon the students, at times for my pleasure. So there is a mixture of niyat here and niyat there. Is there anything else you have brought? He went on and on, and he got the same answer. Finally he said, Ya Allah, I have come with nothing. And the answer came, no. There was a day when a poor widow came to you who nobody knew and said, Majlisi, I am in need of some money to get my daughter married. And you did not know her. Nobody knew about her. You took out the money that you had and paid her, and she got her daughter married. Majlisi, in that there was nothing but qurbatan ilallahi ta'ala. Majlisi, we have accepted everything. We have accepted your bihar. We accept your dars. But we have put this on the top of the list because this is the best that you have done. This gives me a glimpse. The writer is in Kitab Al-Faydh Al-Qudsi fi Hayati Allama Majlisi. by Shaykh Noori alayhi rahmah. He writes that this is only a glimpse of what can happen to me, to us. The accounting will be done by us, but we will confess all, whether we did this for Allah or we did this for impression, for appreciation of the people. May Allah save us. May Allah grant us that acceptability, so that inshallah Maliki Yawmiddin is for us, all of us, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.